No civilians.
Mark him.
Suspect. Ah, whoa, what the hell?
Wait, be calm.
Whoa, what the hell? How did I die?
I'm throwing a bang.
How the heck did I die?
Holy shit, I hate this thing.
How did I die?
Let's retry.
Hello everyone, today we are looking at the Ready or Not map, and this is what I consider the second floor. Technically it's the third floor. Now with that said, the most important thing about this map is that it's not perfectly one-to-one in this area. Also during this recording, I actually don't get to go to this area or this area, technically speaking. But the important thing, and I will address this in the video or whatever, is that there can be some variation to how you can clear this area. You can do it in different orders, but generally speaking, you're kind of going around the outside of the map is kind of the idea. And then you kind of like work on the inside rooms. That's generally the idea most of the time with this. And then you save this room for last. And here's kind of like some of the positioning that you would have and expect when you are actually watching, you know, a team here. So first things first, a super important thing is that this door is mostly going to be open. Like, I don't think I've ever seen it closed ever, as far as I'm aware, going into this floor. The most important thing is to go right here. You're going to pie and close these double doors immediately and wedge them.
Hey, we're going to the next floor. 2 whole extra people.
Securing it and establishing control is vital.
Okay.
Now you can, if you want, deal with any threats in here, which is usually a good thing to do, but just be very careful. Try not to be like strafing while you're fighting this kind of threat area. If you do, you're going to have a really hard time. Okay. I basically promise you, this is a very common thing for people to be like, oh, I'm going to strafe and, you know, fight. No, stay in corner, stay in coverable positions. That's, you know, super important. Now, if you've gotten the key card or press the electronic disable, like security systems or whatever it's called, the lever down in the quote unquote first floor, then you can open this door. You cannot mirror this door for clarification, and you cannot mirror this door either. But once you kind of clear here, make sure that you have like a funnel, make sure you have cover. You can have more people involved in this. You don't need to have 2 people watching this door. Most of the time, there's not enough space, I find, to kind of interact with this door. 2 people can do this, and like with a third watching this side for like extra, you know, coverage or whatever, and people here. Most of the time, it's going to be 4 people trying to deal with this kind of lane of fire. Now, pie out, do the free lean angle. I think I've talked about it in some of my other videos. And once you kind of cleared this area, just like the initial space, you know, see what's going on, wait 15 seconds, close the door, wedge it, and you're moving on here. Please make sure that you are not in the lane of fire in this kind of area. Try to stay out of the center lane of fire. Be like behind here. I think I make an adjustment here yet. So you make sure you're in cover, open the door, and you're going to let this one kind of pie and clear.
Flash it.
The biggest thing with this thing is that if you just see this imaginary line here, I think it's supposed to be a table or whatever, but did a barrel for obstruction purposes for the map building. Let one person, give them space here, because there's not a lot of space here to like free lean fully. This is commonly where I am, and I'm usually doing this. Make sure you are aiming at this point of interest, this area, this angle, this location. Because if you are not, and you are not ready to fire, enemies will storm in here very quickly on occasion. Sometimes they will sprint in. Sometimes it'll be like 4 or 5 enemies. Honestly, it's kind of insane. Make sure you are ready to fire. Now, if you are the one to kind of operate in that space, you can have somebody covering here just as like a secondary backup. So you'll have like a secondary position. So you can fall back. You will retreat this kind of wall. You'll sit here, and then your support will protect and shoot these enemies that are coming in. If you, let's say you get shot and you're bleeding, let's say there's too many and you're kind of scared, pull back. It's okay. You know, still do the free lean, but then these guys are positioned here all the time. And then you have this one as a kind of, he's kind of a floater in terms of like where he is in this kind of space. Also, there's something to consider with this is that I couldn't replicate the elevation of this. So if someone does come through here, they can sometimes shoot at you from the upper kind of, because this is like a little staircase here, and it raises up, and you can kind of see over this if you tippy toe from a distance, and you can actually shoot, I think, at the top of their head.
Another one. Do you want me to?
Flashing.
This person can also be covering in this location, just for clarification. Now, you are going to ply this off very slowly. If you had an engagement here, if you hear an enemy, you throw a flash and you stun them, and then you come around the corner and you take them out. This is always going to be your retreat location. You're going to sit here, and if you're super scared, or you don't have like enough ammo in your magazine because you're not reloading, you're checking your mag, this, as I said, go back to this corner. You're totally fine. You don't need to go and commit to this. Now, when this is usually what I'm, for clarification, if you see one person moving up at a time, this is for explanation purposes. You can move some of these guys up, like your team can move up a little bit each time I'm doing this. I'm doing this for explaining purposes, just for clarification. I want that to be super clear. So you can actually obviously have someone moving up with you as you kind of clear. But what's going on here is that, and real quick, there's no door wedges in this game, the Doorkickers. And ready or not, there's wedges. So you're going to be wedging a lot of doors. So I already said, I think I already said, you're going to be wedging that door. You're also going to be wedging this door. This one is just sitting here because I don't have wedges, basically. This isn't super imperative, but whatever. If you don't have wedges, and if you don't have wedges, you will be playing kind of like this. You'll be having someone cover the door. They'll kind of be sitting here. They actually won't be sitting here because can't defend the door very well. The door opens, you can kind of tell, but they're going to be getting shot. So make sure if you are sitting and watching a corner, this is just not important right now, but anyway. So what you're going to do is you're going to go around here. If any of these doors are open, that's an issue. You need to spend a very long time carefully, like slicing the pie very carefully, not peeking out, not exposing yourself too much, just waiting periods of time, seeing if there's any movement. Sometimes there can be some on the stairs. Sometimes there can be someone like wandering here or like wandering past or whatever. You'll sometimes see them. Sometimes there'll be guys over here and these doors will be open and you can see them all through here. Make sure you're super careful. If you are going to cross this threshold, make sure that when you are looking down this kind of lane of fire, that you are being very careful, because if this door is open, and it has been a lot of my experiences, and you have like a SDR or a LPVO, anything with a magnification, that's going to help a lot when you are looking down here. Make sure you're looking very slowly and carefully, doing that free lean technique I've talked about. Basically going to be saving, keeping you alive. Do not just be like walking out and just like be scoping down. You have free lean. You even have like the Q and E lean, like you can move while you're leaning. Even just that is going to help, but you should always be doing free lean when you're doing these kind of like scary location areas. So always be doing that. Now, as I was saying before, you're supposed to be coming up here and you're going to wedge this door. That door is going to be wedged, so you don't have to worry about it. And then you can start moving up in a proper kind of formation. Most of the time, this is going to be a big threat. If this door opens, it's not going to be a threat immediately, but people will walk out. So the bigger threat here is here. Now, here, because I don't need to watch this technically speaking, but as I said, because Doorkickers 2, I don't have wedges, but this would be wedge. But if you don't have wedges, and let's say you're doing a wedgeless kind of, you know, group or whatever, just people don't think about wedges or don't value them, obviously have someone here kind of watching the door. You can also watch the door through here. You can see the door open or close, but closing this door at least, and wedging it if you have wedges is also really important. Now, if you are going through this, as I said, this door isn't super dangerous until it's opened, until there's enemies coming through. As I said, there are small differences between, obviously, Doorkickers 2 and Ready or Not in terms of their mechanics and stuff. There's various differences. If you see something that I'm doing and it's a little odd, it's just because that reason. So I can't open a door and shoot at the same time in Doorkickers, so that's why that's happening. Now, make sure you are watching this. If this is going on, always be sure to kind of have people reinforcing. Right now, this stuff doesn't need to be here, but sometimes there's just not enough room to operate with more like operators, you know, teammates in this area. But this is generally like the formation. You don't want to kind of cross this line until you're ready. Don't cross over to this location yet. You have to clear this very carefully and very slowly, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to just kind of like, as I said, go along here and kind of just like peek, 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 peek. If all these doors are closed already when you enter here, that's awesome. Sprint over here, wedge it, wedge it, wedge it. Once you're done, everyone can kind of like get moving and get into position, and then you would start working on this door, basically.
Element to talk. Suspect killed. Lead to talk. We have one dead suspect here. 10-4.
So now I am doing slow motion to kind of illustrate this. This is going to primarily be in slow motion. I might just speed it up a little bit here and there, but this is kind of to illustrate like how we're moving through, what's kind of being covered, step by step kind of thing. So you are going to be mirroring this. You're going to have somebody shouldering you most of the time. This is another real quick thing, if you notice. So the door handle is actually on this side. Like this is where the door handle is. These are the door hinges. If you're mirroring something, make sure you're mirroring it on the door hinges. Why is this? If this door opens and you have the mirror gun, or sorry, and let's say like the mirror gun, first when the mirror gun is here, this door opens and it opens like that. They can see you, and then of course your team can't cover you because the door is blocking them. So always be mirroring where the hinges are, off to the side. You can mirror, and then going to be safe that if that door opens, and you'll have like, you know, if you're playing by yourself, you have a moment to recover. If not, then blah, 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 right? That's the idea. Make sure you're checking. Usually there's a civilian here. Most of the time there's an enemy here hiding. So you can, if you want to waste a resource, not waste, but use a resource to check this with a flashbang, you can totally do that depending on your loadouts. This door is broken open. I can't close this. I would close this door if I could. And this would be obviously be wedged if you had wedges, of course, as I've said before. Now, you'll be obviously moving slowly with your team throughout the area, pretty standard stuff, and you're going to cross coverage here. All it just means is that you're just staying on opposite sides, and the person on the opposite side is going to cover the opposite way of cover from you, basically. Once their guy is dead, you can kind of, what I call rolling out. This one will go here, this one will go there. Most of the time this should be clear. You don't need to necessarily clear it, but make sure you're not crossing here either. Try to like not cross the door frame until you're ready, until the rest of your stack is up. I'm just checking these things for, you know, whatever.
10-4. God damn.
Lead to talk.
Hands up!
Suspect is down.
Command to people 2.
Discipline isn't enough. Entry team to talk.
You want me to flash the door?
Requesting temps.
And I want to note something here. If this door, and I'll kind of adjust this as it happens, but close doors behind you, obviously, blah, blah, blah. Standard stuff, and if you're not using wedges. When you're here, and you're not, like, everyone's not ready, you can go and close the door. Just go close the door, it's safe. You can go close the door. I'm obviously running security because, as I said, I don't have door wedges in this game. Now, if this door is closed and it has a door trap on this side, you can enter this room safely, generally speaking. It's not going to be too much of a threat. I don't like doing this room if this door is open. Entering into the space, I have seen so many people die when entering into the space. The angles are kind of awful and annoying because you have like a big funnel of scary threat potential in this location. And if they push in, then you have someone shooting at you as soon as you step through here. It is awful. It is insanely awful. It's so annoying. I don't like this space. People die here all the time. So you can clear this door optionally if you like. If the door is open, I don't even enter this room. I wedge this, and then we're going off to the second part. Now, same thing. I am mirroring on the side of the hinges. Be very clear. Now, you can mirror gun this, see what's going on. If it is a hostile, you can choose to or not take them out. So just be weary about that. A lot of the time, this is going to be the best time to take out these kind of enemies from this area, because you don't really want to deal with them when you're going through the other side of the map. And as will discuss later, I don't know why I had such a southern accent there, but as I will discuss later, this secret passage through the bookcase and through the hidden door frame wall, whatever, I don't like going out here for various reasons, which I'll discuss, but you can choose to deal with this. Make sure you have great lanes of fire. Make sure you have good cover. Do not open this door center of the room. Make sure you are hiding here. Make sure you are in some, I don't know if there's cover over here. I'm usually never over here. I'm usually like right here, usually plying into this area, or I'm usually here operating the door and kind of plying. But just make sure, you're doing this very, very safely. This is a very scary threat. And you're just going to wedge that after you've done that. So
I think we lost one back at that double door.
Hero, I'm fairly certain I did not team kill you. I don't believe I did.
Disabling the device.
after that, you're going to move out. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Get over here. Now, even though... So I don't have door wedges, as I said before. I'm going to be saying that a lot. I don't have door wedges. So I'm going to behave as if you guys were playing, you don't have door wedges. So this is kind of what you're going to be doing. You're going to be like moving in, trying to secure and watch this area. You're going to slowly, as a, kind of like a general thing as before, try to not to cross like the center line of the door until you have a lot of people. Make sure you check in here and here. If you don't have if you don't have wedges, make sure you just kind of, basically you're just re-clearing the space you've already been in. If you have wedges, you can just comfortably walk back and get to this point, because that's where we're going. Speed it up a little bit. As I said, clear, pretty standard stuff. Then you're going to be stacking on this door. This is kind of where the second part of this happens.
Hands up now!
Really wish the yell button and the interact button were different.
So you are going to mirror this, obviously. And The idea here is this door isn't a super big threat. This door and this door are probably going to be the bigger threats. When you step in here, make sure that you're covering this door. If it opens, you can shoot them, obviously. This is going to be where like a threat would pop out and cause some chaos. Same with here. You should have 2 people center covering these doors. You'll have 1 person kind of covering the shoulder of this guy if this door opens. And then the person who's entering will be watching this door until we can start moving in. So here we go, all that stuff. And you can kind of focus on this door. This one can move in once this is done because this door is being covered. Going to watch here, have somebody else watching and still watching that center. Try to stay out of center. Like you will cross their sight lines here on occasion. You can tighten up the stack or whatever to make so they can see past each other, but just try not to cross their line of fire. Or if you do, just do it very minimally. We're going to close the doors behind us as always. You can, as I said, these doors would be wedged. This door wedged, this door wedged. And depending if you enter this room, this door would be wedged instead. Going through this. Now, here's a couple things you can do. If you're in this room and all these doors are closed, booyah, awesome. Go over here, wedge, go here, wedge, go here, and wedge. Now, once you're done that, this is wedged, this is wedged, this is wedged for context. So the only way in and out of this room is this door. You can choose to go into this room and clear it and peek in here and clear it. And after that, you can back off and you'll do this room. And of course, you'll wedge that door and you can grab that wedge because you no longer need that wedge. So you can move this wedge to here. Then you're going to restack here and work on this room. Now, that's generally speaking what you're going to be doing. So you can clear this area. You're not going to enter this room, but you can, like, you know, peek in here. Who's going on? If there's an enemy, try to kill them. This door might be open. You know, maybe you can, you know, lure them out, shoot them. Just be careful. Like, this is kind of like the extra stuff. I'm still going to say, hey, be careful. Don't go into rooms unless you are ready or prepared, or you like the angle that you're engaging them in. Anyway, if there is a target in here, just try to, like, you know, do this in slow-mo. Make sure you're moving together. Make sure you have good lines of fire, shooting, covering the door here. This door, as I said, is already wedged. And you're still watching this door and you're still watching this door, which is important. So all that good stuff, you speed it up. I did this in slow-mo to kind of like better be able to understand what's going on and play for the game here. And you can clear this area and then you'd wedge that door if it's not already wedged. Or if it's not wedged, then, you know, just still be watching it, of course. If you brought wedges, you know, wedge it, obviously. If you didn't bring wedges, you'll be doing basically kind of exactly how my squad is moving.
LSPD is on site.
When you are entering here, make sure that you're having, it sounds weird, but 1 person going in here, because if they have to bail out, they can have space to bail out, and then the person there can protect them, okay? Very important. Please do that. You don't need 3,000 people storming in here and getting shot. You're not going to sprint in here. You're going to slowly free lean around this corner. Once there's no target here, or if there is a target here, kill them. And you are going to go around. Once someone is here to hold the door, same thing. Your eyes are on this door the whole time. There's always 1 person with the eyes on the door. And you can have like 1 or 2 and maybe even 3. Once everybody's inside, you don't need to wedge it because all the other adjoining doors connected to this stuff will be wedged. So you'll technically be safe from behind. You don't need to worry about this area.
I'll have to change that next time we run a mission or rerun this. I don't think it would have helped me. The only things red on my thing are my legs.
No flashes, no flashes on me.
I'm out of flashes.
Targets in sight.
That's what full auto is for.
Attack confirmed. Oh, we have movement.
Element to talk. Contact is down.
I'm trying to make space for what's coming.
Please, hands up!
Every death to this point was an obstacle.
So I'm running security because I don't have wedges. Now you're going to mirror. You can mirror on this side because it's the door hinge side. The reason why I'm mirroring on this side is because there's not a lot of space here and someone to cover me. So I got cover here. I got cover here watching me. If anybody opens the door, they're getting shot. But that's obviously this is the, you know, in that situation. So obviously clear this room carefully. Try not to cross this lane of fire. This angle here. Try to stay against the wall. Weird how there's no sound. Or less sound at least. Moving in. Now, if the doors are open or closed, we'll change how you approach this. If you're approaching it with the door open, just make sure to take it very slowly. Little baby steps, little baby steps, little baby steps, etc., etc. Now, close the door. Let people get into position, right? Try not to stand in the center front of the door. Oops, that's not a straight line. Center front of the door. This is usually where you don't want to be. Try to always be off to the side of doors. And if there is a large area into a room, like let's say it's like a really big room, try to minimize how much you're like looking into the room. Just back up a little bit. Use a mirror gun, all that stuff. Be watching rear security if you don't have wedges. Open the doors. Trying to take it slow. You should be able to see if with your mirror gun. Check to see if this door is open. If that door is open, this is a scarier threat. They love to run around in here, depending on how you've been approaching here. Now, you're going to go in here. It has been occasions where there has been a hostile here. It's pretty rare, but it does happen. So just be mentally prepared and ready. Most commonly, there is a civilian here. And there's also a civilian here as well. And where's some other places with civilians here? Sometimes there's a civilian here. And I think it's usually the most common areas for the civilians that we've covered already. Watch this door. This door is scary. You are going to be watching this door very carefully. Please do that.
You talk to me? No way, I'm using the others.
Entry team to talk. We got a dead suspect here. Hands up, above your head.
Don't shoot him with the network! Don't leave me here. Don't leave me here. Pulling back!
Super imperative and important. Close the doors behind you. Don't have wedges. Going to be saying that a lot. Get used to it. If there is somebody in this room, finger's going to be nice. Have a shield man block, and you like be beside him or behind him to take them out. He kind of moves up. If you don't have all those, you know, apply this slowly and do the free lean stuff. Usually single man so they can retreat if they have to. If this door opens, this is going to be very scary. You have to be very diligent and get people in here as fast as possible. Try not to cross this line over here until you have cleared this space. Okay, so if this doors are open or closed, it's either good or bad. You're still going to be watching this door, of course, but make sure you clear this spot first. There can be an enemy here. Also, I didn't add this in. There are 2 civilians here. And I think there's like some other stuff. Raised platform. It's not much, so it's not really, doesn't really matter. But I didn't add that in for if anyone's wondering, but there's usually 2 people hostage here. Well, yeah, once you've cleared here, you can go around, have 2 people on the right side, sometimes 3 depending.
Especially no flashes.
Drop your weapons!
Get down, now!
I have heavy armors. I have heavy armor. I could take point.
I have courage.
I saw one. I saw.
We need to be quick here.
I had Marine Corps training.
Hope they made it out.
I hit the floor before I even knew what was happening.
Door across is open.
Can you take these off now?
Acknowledged.
All good. Hope this old geezer is worth the trouble.
I'm usually this person here most of the time, working the doors, because I'm usually the one going in and working the doors. Make sure you have somebody watching here. When this door opens, I believe, if I remember correctly, the geometry should allow you to see this door. At least partially up some of it. This guy is going to be watching and securing this area. This one over here is going to be watching any movement over here. Now, you can close the doors, mirror it, see what's going on. I recommend that. You want to see as much as into this area as possible. There's no anybody over here. Sometimes there can be a person patrolling around here. Sometimes there can be a person patrolling around here. So keep that in mind. Now, when you enter here, it's going to be kind of cross coverage. It's a little hectic in this area. It's very difficult space to kind of clear properly, especially like very difficult, honestly. Doesn't, I mean, like people have cleared it, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, it's a little bit more tricky. You do want to have if you have two shields, shield man, then you guys are going that direction each, right? And et cetera, et cetera. This is a good defensible position, minimizes exposure to points of fire. First, we're going to clear this before we start working on this. Make sure this is being covered the whole time. Make sure this is being covered. You're doing cross coverage until you guys have to, as I call it, rolling out. So this rolls out here, and then you would watch here as well. Kind of didn't do that perfectly, but this person would be watching here when this guy rolls out here. So, and then after that, you're just going to be wedging these doors. That's usually what's happening when they're doing this stuff. And here's something to be said. Okay, now, you guys can split up here. It's up to you. Most of the time, I recommend just staying together. It's probably the best bet. If you have died, if somebody has died at this point, I recommend staying together. If you somehow still stack a 5 and you have a very competent group, splitting up is probably okay. You can go in here, kill a target, use either around here or here location. There's sometimes a civilian in this kind of space. But you can clear this room, and then you'll be sitting and waiting. These guys clear this room and this room. Obviously, during the time, you can come and help them. But the idea is you would be getting to this spot when these guys are at this spot. So you'd have like 2 teams here and here to work this space and this space. Because working this space here is a little tricky when you're doing it as a group of 5 most of the time, just because the angles and the spacing. Now,
It's so quiet now. Checking in. Still nothing.
Talk. We have an individual in custody.
I think one on left side, one on left side, one on left side.
Is the mayor okay? They said something about the judge.
Leave to talk. Got one down.
In Ready or Not, there is guys that like to hide behind cabinets. There's one here. They love sitting in here. For door kickers, I need to use a stun because this counts as cover, and it's kind of an annoying thing with door kickers. You don't need to use a... Don't use a stun, use a stun. But I'm using this. You can totally pry this off. You're just going to go here around the table. Just like, you know, as I said, free lean here. So you can see him, shoot him, get him. Be wary of that. Have somebody in here with you just to cover that long hallway here. And once that's done, you are going to be watching this doorway as well. Everyone's flooding in. Closing the doors behind you. I'm going to speed this up. And we're good.
Washing his cowardice dressed as virtue. Come forward and finish what we started.
Now, same thing as before. Mirror on the side with the hinges. See what's going on here. Tell the people if this door is open. That's the important piece of information. If it's closed, that's awesome. If it's not, it's gonna suck a little bit more. You're gonna have somebody here, kind of on the angle here, watching this door. You can have people already up here, kind of watching that angle as well into that room. My guys are a little slow, but it's okay. Kind of trying to show you like individual movement, not collectively the whole group simultaneously. And here we go. We have this person watching the door through the windows the best they can. Now, I am pieing this wide because I don't have wedges. Once again, you're just going to wedge this door and work on that door. You can focus all your attention on this one after. So after that, and if you don't have wedges, you're going to be doing something similar to this maybe, where you're covering each other while you pass. Mirror it. Most of the time, there's going to be an enemy in here. There can be a guy over here sometimes. Pretty rare that there's a guy over here, but there can be. I don't know. Probably do your due diligence and stuff. There's usually a civilian here. Blah, 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 blah. Throw a stinger, throw a flashbang, throw a 9-bang, whatever. Get him, stun him, get in here, clear this room. This room, we're not interacting with this room anymore, though. And, of course, make sure you're watching the doors as you clear. And I think as I was illustrating in the time I was actually playing in through here, we're not going to be going through here. We've already cleared this space from this location. And like, generally speaking, it is better to clear this space from this door. If a lot of the time, anytime I've ever, and we clear this, the geometry is exactly correct here, but just had to do this for the sake of the whatever. Anywho, when you go through the secret bookcase, you go through the secret door. When you come out here, it's pretty awful. A lot of the time, you're going to end up getting shot here. It's just annoying and tedious and dangerous. You can do it. If you don't have a lot of experience, I 100% don't recommend ever doing it. It just, so many times, it's like, if you're going out here especially, don't go out here. Like, if you know what you're doing, sure. I mean, first off, if you know what you're doing, generally speaking, you probably won't be watching this video. But it does help everybody who maybe aren't, you know, ready or not, players a lot, or whatever, or just people newer to gaming or whatever don't have time to play. Blah 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 blah. Anyway,
What the hell?
I do not see anyone in there.
Oh fuck, my mic was muted. Your right side is good on the double door. Only the right side. I think someone pushed. Someone pushed. Fuck, man. Really? Okay, fuck.
Man, here I thought he had a friendly no mic.
How the fuck am I supposed to get out of here now?
Lights stick out.
The shit these people get up to. Holy shit. That's the kind of stuff you'd only see in movies.
These guys aren't just regular thugs.
Hands on your head, now!
Okay. Before we do the next run of the next mission, I'm changing that.
I think there's a guy on the other metal detector. Unless he's just on the stairs.
Ninth, I thought it was 10th.
How the fuck am I supposed to get out of here now?
now this is kind of what I was talking about, where you can have people break off even now if you wanted to. You can do it simultaneously. You clear this room, and then you would open this door, and then you guys would basically, like, the store is open, look through here to help them clear this room that we just cleared. So most of the time, like, if you have a competent team, I would do that. But otherwise, you're just standing together. This is a really annoying, scary room. A lot of the time, people will die here. Make sure you are looking in this direction with a couple people, 2 people, and then the rest should kind of, like, most of the time, whenever there's someone in here staying side on the cover, you're just going to be wedging this door. It's super simple. If you don't have wedges, then you have to do something more complicated with covering and moving and covering each other as you move and blah, blah, blah. And the geometry here isn't perfect either. There's supposed to be less space here. I just had a real issue with like some of the like connecting of the map. But anyway, that's beside the point. So very much cover and put a lot of firepower down this lane. Make sure you are very prepared. I'm clearing this room. Blah, 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 blah. As I said, I'm illustrating during this time. Also, close the doors if you have, you know, just always close the doors. Always close the doors behind you. Always have someone to run in security. Always, you know, blah, blah, blah. Less important with wedges, but I'm doing this crazy stack just because of Doorkickers. Because it's, now. Oopsie. Hold on. Oh, pause. Okay. Oh. Anyway, you'll notice that we didn't technically, I mean, we went into this room for a second to clear, I think. And I let it play out as I kind of talk. Obviously, the mission ended before I could work on this room. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. This game, when the last hostile dies, the game is over. But I'm going to kind of talk about entering this final space before you go up to the staircases. It's hard to talk about the staircases because of elevation. That's most of the time why I avoid it. When it comes to clearing this space, as I've said, depending on how you kind of cleared, if you cleared up to here, open this and cleared this, you would go over here, open this, right, and clear this room. These rooms would generally speaking be cleared. And then when you go around and you do this stuff, you would, you know, clear this area, all this area would be clear, right? Before you go out here. Now, once you have cleared this space, you can choose to open these doors and start working into this room. Not working in terms of like moving in, but like just checking and killing what you can. Past that, you're going to close these, wedge these, and then you're going to go back here, and then you can kind of see if you've missed anything, kill any enemies here, and then most of the time I found working from this side is easier than working from this side. Also, you can choose to even work from this side as well, this door. So if you really, really want to, I did not do this because most of the time it requires a very, very coordinated team who knows what they're doing. But splitting up in various locations probably would be a good way to tackle this. I have gone from here, and you're just going to be going along the edges, along the walls, kind of working and checking this out. You're going to be going along the edges, along the walls, basically the whole time. Most of the time when you're checking back here, you should have cleared it from here. If you haven't, then you need to be entering this space very carefully. I'm talking shields on these sides and stuff, because this is the dangerous place where if you haven't cleared this whole map, this will become a nightmare. You've not like methodically cleared every single room, making sure that there's been like no enemy that's like ran out or something and gone somewhere into your spaces that you should have been wedging or covering. It's going to be a nightmare. There's going to be one random guy that's going to run off and, you know, get you randomly or whatever. So make sure you are minimizing that. Now, most of the time, as I said, I have gone from here before. Honestly, I enjoy going from this location. It has cover. You can look cross coverage within the rooms. You can go out here while still watching a good portion of the stairs. You go around here, you check this location, you know, and then you can, if you want to, you can go along the walls to check back here while the other team goes along the walls to check back here. I like entering from here. Honestly, it's kind of up to you. I definitely prefer this one though. Has a little bit better cover and a little bit like more, you can see a bit more into the space here where there's kind of more threats. So like, as I said, these spaces. So, and there are civilians here. If you are wanting to know. I just did it again. Lovely. Now, I'm sure that I probably missed something during this coverage of this replay. Let me know if I missed anything. I'm sure I did, honestly. Sometimes it's hard to remember every single little detail, but generally speaking, this is kind of what it's going to be. So as I said, when it comes to like entering here, I'm going to say it just one more time. You should have cleared methodically. And if you are going back to clear areas that have not been wedged, pretend that you have not cleared them and clear them again. Because sometimes if there's like a guy, as I said, who wanders and he wanders into a room, and let's say you cleared it already, and he wanders into a room after you've kind of cleared it, it's going to be annoying to like come back into the room and have a surprise and, you know, lose a player or your whole team. So make sure you're being very, very, very diligent about that. As I said before, it's hard to cover the stairs. Honestly, as I said, just do this. Also, from this angle, I want to illustrate that there is a window above these doors that will let you see, and enemies will you'll be able to see enemies on the on like the upper balconies where these stairs are. It's kind of like an area here, and then it kind of goes inward to go to the stairs, or like to go up. Like this, these are the stairs, right? And there's like the spot when you get it here. So this basically is going to, like, this is the route I take every single time. I've gotten up here solo. I've gotten up here with a team, like using this method, like the previous part 1 and part 2 of this, which is part 2, on this floor. So as long as you're doing this, as long as you have a relatively competent team, as long as you're not making like big mistakes of not covering each other or, you know, whatever, you should be able to do this with this kind of route map is what I call these. Kind of like a route map guide of how to like move through here and kind of cover where you should be positioned and such. But this is definitely like the harder floor. The first floor is kind of easy. This one's a little bit more challenging. This space is very dangerous. Now, I have seen people enter from this location instead of entering from this location. I prefer this one simply because this stupid little plant can cause issues, and there's a lot of like things to cover here that are very dangerous compared to like this. Even though it's like the same amount of doors, these are a little bit less threatening just because of like the spawn likelihood of enemies and such. So I, generally speaking, as I said, recommend going through here. This is a little bit more risky when you spawn, if you were to spawn here, basically. But yeah, so hopefully this is helping you guys out. Let me know if you want to like see other maps or something. This is kind of like the one everyone probably wants to see. It's the hardest one that people are probably struggling with the most. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I missed anything. And
Dude, I've stolen so many people's wedges. Granted, 2 of them are dead now.
Status screen here.
Idiots left me for dead.
Checking in. Got nothing.
Entity to top. Officer down. We need temps. Please, don't move!
You're resilient.
I'm down to 2 mags. This one that I got in the chamber is half.
Doc, we found something. Laptop and a frequency emitter.
Fine, the intel says this might be the device we're looking for. Upload the receiver logs, and we'll be able to prevent detonation with a spoofed frequency.
Put your hands up now!
I'm on it.
Entry team to talk. Down!
Reports feed the illusion of justice. The assurance the machine is working. We prefer the honesty of blood.
Yeah, there's a wedge on the single door.
Ellen, to talk. Got a suspect down.
Closing. Forgetting. We remember everything.
Contact down.
Divvy is ready.
That is going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching and have a good day.
Two civilians. Mark them. Suspect. Ah, whoa, what the hell?
Be calm. Whoa, what the hell? How did I die? I'm throwing a bang. How the fuck did I die? Holy shit, I hate this thing. How did I die? I was behind you guys and... Just retry.
Hope this old geezer is worth the trouble.